Hey everybody, it's time for another installment of the John Stewart series Green Lantern War Journal, so let's jump right in. Green Lantern War Journal number 8 is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Montos, colors by Adriano Lucas, and letters by Dave Sharp. The title of this issue is Star and Shroud. Out in space, John Stewart fights off invasion forces that emerge from the Dark Star. They appear to be made out of the same energy as the Radiant Dead, though John can tell they're different somehow. And they refer to themselves as the Children of Olgren's Mind, which may mean they're constructs, though that tends to mean something far more complicated in this series. After showing us another very impressive mech suit, John is finally able to speak with the crew of a spaceship that crashed here due to the immense gravity, and have been fighting an endless war against the monsters from beyond the Dark Star ever since. Time doesn't seem to pass in this place, and none of them have even required food since they arrived. The locals believe that this is the afterlife, and worship the Dark Star, and believe that they will ascend into it when they're deemed worthy. The Dark Star itself is gradually getting larger, and the more its size increases, the more monsters can come through. The only thing holding any of it in check is the gravity field, which we now know is being generated by Bilavak. As long as he lives, the gravity field will remain up, and everything pertaining to the Dark Star will be contained. But he won't live much longer, so it's up to John to find a way to destroy the Dark Star, to seal the breach, before it can freely expand to fill the universe with its toxic light. While John is dealing with all of that, Lantern Shepherd is on Earth trying to find backup. He tracked down Guy Gardner's apartment in Baltimore and is greeted by a pretty funny and overly aggressive home security system. Guy is off in space trying to arrest Lobo, but once he realizes who Shepherd is and that John is missing, he decides to lend a hand. Apparently, Guy has the Book of Oa in the back of his closet. This is a record of all the knowledge of the Guardians and the Green Lantern Corps. I don't know how Guy has this, or how long he's had it, or why he has it, but it was a funny reveal, and it's the perfect vehicle for a major exposition dump, which I imagine will be a lot of next issue. I have to think that the sudden appearance of the Book of Oa is an addition that came after the decision to limit the series to 12 issues. It lets the characters get the information they need much faster, and can thus accelerate the story. Meanwhile, at Steelworks, Ellie has been doing such a thorough job of deceiving John's mom with this living illusion that she's even begun to look more like her younger self. Not only does that show us how far from reality Ellie is pushing her, it also gives us a very good visual indicator of what it means for this illusion to fall apart. Varron makes his move, and since he's a Durlan, he can shapeshift to look just like John's father. Last issue, Ellie made a point of telling us that John's father was an abusive husband, and the horror of that fact is on full display here. Even though Varron can't seem to break through Ellie's construct house, the terror he can inflict just by peering through the window is more than enough to completely destroy any sense of safety. When the illusion was in full effect, the panels were solid, orderly, and surrounded by white gutters. Once Varron appears, wearing the face of John's father, the gutters become a black abyss, and the panel borders become shaky and uneven, as though they're in danger of breaking apart. The color drains from the hair of John's mom as the panels become smaller and more claustrophobic, and she becomes more and more vulnerable. The unreality of Ellie's illusion is coming undone, and constructs of household items begin flowing through the air. Most notably, a broken wristwatch symbolizing how little time she has left, and a bottle of pills representing the medical treatment she needs if she's going to live long enough to see her son again. Ellie manages to calm her mom down, bringing her back into the depths of the delusion, but the danger isn't gone. Ellie mobilizes a squad of Construct soldiers to secure the perimeter around the house, and sends word to Steelworks that one of the Radiant Dead is in the building. It's hard to say if Ellie could handle Varron by herself. Maybe she's only doing things this way for the sake of preserving her mom's state of mind. After all, Varron didn't seem to be able to enter the Construct house. Though maybe that has more to do with Ellie trying so hard to keep the outside world away from John's mom. It's up to Varron to make the next move, so we'll probably know pretty soon how well he and Ellie match up. So that's issue 8. I gotta tell ya, at this point, I don't really care about what's going on out in space because the story hasn't given me any reason to care. I get the basic mechanics of what's happening, but all of it feels so detached from everything we've become invested in over the first 6 issues of this book. Now suddenly John is in a random place helping random aliens fight a war against a threat that, so far, has very little to do with John or Green Lantern or any of the genuinely interesting ideas that were left behind on Earth. Since the moment this series began, the strongest and most compelling thing about it has been what's going on with John's family. I feel like I say this every issue, but it's true. What's going on with John and his mom is the emotional core of this entire series. This is what everything else needs to revolve around, because anything that doesn't lacks meaning, lacks importance. Just look at this issue. Look at how much creativity and emotion went into the scene that took place on Earth, while everything in space felt like some generic sci-fi story that only existed to give us an action scene. Although it really didn't need to, since the scene of Varron trying to get in the house was way more intense than anything that John did in his cool mech suit. At this point in the story, how do you feel about John's outer space adventure? How do you like it compared to the family drama playing out on Earth? Is the Book of Oa a creative reveal or too much of a plot contrivance? Tell me all about it in the comments section, and be sure to subscribe because I'll be back covering issue number 9 before you know it. Until then, thank you for taking the time to watch. My name is Dan, we'll talk again soon.